She laughed, not a polite chuckle, a real laugh, the kind that comes from deep in your chest when something sounds so impossibly absurd that your body responds before your mind can stop it. God told her she would have a child at 90 years old and she laughed. And God heard it, and gave her the child anyway. This is Sarah. If biblical content like this is speaking to your faith, hit subscribe. Genesis chapter 12 verses 1 to 5 and 7:15-17. Sarah's life was a long journey of waiting. She followed Abraham into the unknown, believing God would make him a great nation. But year after year, she remained barren. She grew desperate, and in her desperation, she took matters into her own hands, giving her servant Hagar to Abraham to bear a child. It was a cultural solution, but a faithless one. Then, when she was 90 years old, God appeared to Abraham and said something extraordinary. This time next year, Sarah will have a son. Lesson 1. Taking matters into your own hands never produces the promise God intended. Sarah knew God's plan. She knew He promised Abraham a son. But the waiting was unbearable, so she created her own shortcut. She gave Hagar to Abraham, and Ishmael was born. It seemed like a solution, but it brought jealousy, conflict, and heartbreak. What God has promised, He will deliver. Our job is not to help Him keep His word. It is to trust Him in the waiting. Lesson 2. Your past failure does not disqualify you from future blessing. When God renewed the promise, Abraham fell on his face and laughed. But so did Sarah. She was past the age of childbearing, and the idea was so impossible she laughed in disbelief. And yet, God did not revoke His promise. He confronted her doubt gently, asking, "Is anything too hard for the Lord?" Sarah's story shows us that our moments of doubt, our failures, and our attempts to control the situation do not disqualify us from God's faithfulness. He can work through it all to bring His promise to life. Lesson 3. The name God gives you is more powerful than the name your circumstances gave you. God changed her name from Sarai, which meant my princess, to Sarah, which meant princess of all. She was no longer just the wife of a man with a promise. She was the mother of nations. Before she held Isaac in her arms, God gave her a new identity. He does the same for us. He calls us what we are becoming, not just what we have been. Lesson 4. When God fulfills His promise, He turns your laughter of disbelief into laughter of joy. The name God gave the child was Isaac, which means laughter. When Sarah finally held her son, every tear of waiting and every moment of doubt was transformed into pure, overwhelming joy. She said, "God has brought me laughter, and everyone who hears about this will laugh with me." The waiting wasn't wasted. It made the promise even sweeter. Sarah was flawed. She was impatient. She tried to make things happen on her own. And she laughed in disbelief at God's promise. But God was faithful anyway. He does not give up on us because we struggle or take the wrong path. He works through our mess to bring about His miracle. Share this with someone right now and subscribe for the next episode.